about LaVar. You move it on. You tell everybody on your team, look, they ask any question, Lonzo, that's your daddy. So, hey, at some point, you got to holler at him anyway. But we want you. Next question. Next question. I don't have anything to say about that. No, there's nothing interesting that I have to say about that situation. Next question. And you just keep moving on. And you get out of that situation. Information man said, the difference, my brother, is that the Durant and Steph Curry family, they're not trying to sell you shoes. They're not trying to sell you a brand. LaVar is trying to sell you shoes. He's trying to sell you let me make sure. He's trying to sell you. He's like a snake salesman. He's trying to sell you something out of a bottle, okay? And he's already got poor ratings on his shoes from the Better Business Bureau. I mean, he's putting on a show to market himself. Information show. If that is true and that's correct and all that stuff, that's even more to be like, you know what? Next question. Because you know who else is benefiting from this? ESPN. ESPN is benefiting from this because it has to be some type of ratings that they're making. Because if they're not getting any ratings or any other network that have him on, they wouldn't have him on. Trust. Put me out there and ask me about Lonzo Ball and see if people are going to be tuning in. I'm talking about ESPN. Put me out there, put me on the radio, put me on TV, and then start asking me about Lonzo and let me start saying stuff. People, what? They'll be like, man, who is this guy? And they're going to move on. So it's also, like you just said, he marketed himself and people are eating it up. But also these other networks are benefiting from it as well. It's a shame. It shouldn't happen, but it does happen. But to deal with it, if you are, because, they're asking everyone. I heard them talking to Billy King. Billy King has nothing to do with Lonzo, LaVar, or anything with the Lakers, but they're asking him, if you were a GM at this point, what would you have done and how would you handle it? Would you have drafted? They're asking him questions as if he actually will have some doings with LaVar just so people. No, next question, man. It doesn't even warrant talking about, because at the end of the day, all that's gonna matter. And information, man, I'm with you on that. At the end of the day, it's gonna matter what Lonzo does on that court, because if he stinks. Or if he just doesn't live up to the number 2 overall pick, eventually we ain't gonna have to worry about LaVar, because at this point, Lonzo still got the potential of being, something probably special. But let it be by his 3rd year, he could be like the 8th man on the bench. All of a sudden, these franchises and everyone else, they're going to get so bold and tell LaVar, sit down, be quiet, and all that stuff. They're just not doing it now. Information Man Show says, and I don't know why I have a problem saying Information Man Show. Maybe I'm trying to say it too fast, but he said, you're right. The media runs up to him. They put a camera in his face and he speaks like any parent would do, because he's trying to sell shoes. The media loves it. They would. Making money off of putting attention on him. You're right. And but it's the world we live in, though, Information Man. Me and one of the listeners in here, Kyron, we were just talking about, like, man, and of course social media was not like it was when we were growing up, but it was just like, man, can you imagine if social media was like this when Jordan and Magic and Isaiah and all of them were in the league? It would be crazy. But it was just like, we focused on basketball. We didn't focus on all that outside stuff. We didn't focus on what was going on. Unless, someone was, hanging from a burning building or something like that, that's when we focused on it, but I get it. And it's crazy. But that is the world we live in. We live in BS3 Sports. Just listening and doing Uber Eats. We live in an Lyft, Uber Eats world. We live in Snapchat. We live in Instagram. That's just the world that we live in. We live in mumble rap. So that's the world we live in, man. And right now, Lavar, it's his time to do whatever it is he's going to do, and he's going to continue to keep doing it. For as long as they let him. I mean, I was Annika Sorenstam, if I remember. Annika Sorenstam. She played tennis. They talked about how ESPN covered her and how other people, covered her and talked about her and everything because basically people said she was a pretty face. She wasn't that good of a tennis player, but because she was so pretty that they covered her. That was just where we are. But eventually, it went away. So I just say, next question. I don't have a thought about it. Next question. And eventually, the media's going to stop asking about it because it's only so many ways that you can ask it. And you just get through with that question instead of giving an explanation, because if you give an explanation, then all you do is just open it up for another follow-up question. So if you are a person who do not want to talk about Lavar Ball and you are in professional basketball in some shape or form, I mean, he even rolls into like football and they're talking about him. But next question. And eventually they're going to stop asking, Angry Black Man, yes, I pulled one out there. That's classic. Annika Sorenstam, yes, the tennis player. Yeah, I remember all that, man. Annika had it going on and everybody watching her and all that stuff, blonde, pretty face and all that stuff. And she seems like she was a nice person, but I'm from afar. It's not like I don't know her. I know her, but, she would, I don't think she would ever rank number one, I don't think she won, she might have won one Grand Slam or something like that, but she, it's not like she wasn't, Monica Seles, or she wasn't, the Williams sisters or anything like that. She wasn't, anything of that magnitude like that, but she got the attention, and a lot of people didn't like that, but eventually it goes away. Shouts out to my man DJ Knox, who's in the building. DJ Knox, I've been talking about you all night long, sir. I've been talking about this coat drive. So again, make sure, man. Hey, hit him up. Let me get the number for you one more time since DJ Knox is in here. 551-232-9964, man. We're trying to get these coats. We're trying to get this donation package. We're trying to get toothbrush, soap, washcloth, blankets, whatever, man. Help a brother out. And if you need any additional information, hit me up. thewaitaminuteshow@gmail.com. So shouts out to my man DJ Knox. Appreciate you for doing that, DJ Knox. So we're going to get off this Lavar Ball stuff and we're going to get into what the topic of tonight's show was. NFL playoffs round 2. Now, no, Angry Black Man, I am not a tennis historian. I just remember certain things. That's it. That's about it. But these playoffs, let's get into these playoffs. Well, first off, we're going to talk about the first game, and I'm a little pissed. P-I-S-T, pissed. With the NFL a little bit. So Saturday, we got 2 games. First game is the Falcons versus the Eagles. So bird against bird. We're going to find out who's the top wing, And the second game, and I'll get into that in just a moment, but the second game is Tennessee versus New England. Why in the world is Tennessee versus New England the prime time game? That should be an early game. I mean, I'm sure almost everybody has New England tapping that booty. Now, Titans got a chance. I'm not going to say that. But I'm just saying as far as like how they stage these games. Atlanta versus Philadelphia should be the primetime game. I don't know why they're playing at 4:35. New England should be playing. They're both East Coast games. It's not like you playing out west or something like that, like the Falcons did last week against the Rams. So I don't get that. So they already got me mad about that. But I digress. But I'm gonna go in order of how it goes down. So the Falcons versus the Eagles is gonna be the first game on Saturday. Now I'm going with the Falcons. All right. Yeah, well, we already know that. Season ticket holder here. I've been in Atlanta for about 59,000 years and everything. So this is my home away from home, and so I'm going to cheer for the Falcons as well. But I'm going to be realistic with this game. I told you last week, I actually had the game with the Rams a lot closer than what it actually turned out to be. So I'm going to stick with that, though. I still think this is going to be a close game between the Falcons and the and the Eagles. Now, it would definitely be, a different conversation we would be having if Carson Wentz was in the game, but he's not. So Nick Foles is playing, and Nick Foles came out a little fugazi. He that first game he came out, I think he threw four touchdowns, and everybody, okay, well, we straight. And then from there on, he has struggled, and throwing high. I mean, the last game against the Raiders, man, he was just all over the place, and it was just like, what is Nick doing? So he needs to calm down. He needs to, basically get better very fast. This team is really set up to make a run, and Carson Wentz was the machine that made this thing run, but they're going to have a challenge on their hand. They did pick up Jay Ajayi, so I think they're going to try and run the Falcons into the ground, not put all the pressure or the responsibility on Nick. I mean, honestly, they've seen the last 2 weeks, so they're not ready to just put it in his hand and say, go win it for us, at this point, because he hasn't shown it, consistently. But I think they will use LeGarrette Blount and Jay Ajayi and try to run the mess out of the Falcons. Now, the Falcons have done decent against the run. Not the greatest, but they've done decent. Now, Todd Gurley, last week, he got over 100 yards, but they kept him in check for most of the game. It wasn't, a 40, 50, 60-yard run for touchdowns and everything. So they kept him out of the end zone for the most part. This is a different challenge. You got a big receiver, and I'm moving on to the passing game, for the Eagles. You got bigger receivers. I mean, Sammy Watkins is a big receiver, but let's be honest. If you're gonna go Alshon Jeffrey or Sammy Watkins, you're going to go with Alshon Jeffrey right now. Sammy Watkins got all the talent in the world, man. It's just at times he just doesn't put it together, when you need him to. But when he does, he's a monster. But Alshon Jeffrey, he has had a little bit more success. He got a new contract. They got Nelson Aguilar, who run around in the slot, and you got Torrey Smith. And Torrey Smith scares me, and this is why he scares me. He's a burner. He's a guy who gets up the field very quick. And the Falcons have two corners that you've seen them get burnt deep. And I'm talking about Marcus Trufant and Alford. They gamble. They're not scared, so I give them credit for that. But they at times have given up big passes where, they let the receiver get behind them. So Torrey Smith is somebody that you're going to have to look out, for this game and try to make sure that you don't let him beat you deep. He's like a Ted Ginn. Ted Ginn is the same way. I mean, he's so fast. He gets past you, and it's just like, what happened? Where did he go? And then you like, uh-oh. And that's how Torrey Smith is. If he get up on you, he's gonna try and blast past you, and he could do it. So you gotta watch out for that. On the flip side, the defense for the Eagles, they are no joke. They have quality linebackers. Maybe their secondary might be a little bit of a weakness. I wouldn't say, a big weakness. But it's going to take the Falcons, everything they got. Now, Falcons, this is easy, on their side. the offense is going to have to show up. You got a little bit of it, against the Rams, but you're going to need a lot more. And they